You are in a civil war era. This could be civil strife, as Stephen Marsh has described it. I cite him often. Civil strife is a period where people are dying in political conflict, but it's not yet risen to the point of, factions fighting for control or anything like that. I believe it's fair to say that we are in a civil war era and perhaps a period of civil strife. Reason reports, Special Counsel Jack Smith's appointment is unconstitutional. It's actually quite simple. I didn't even realize this. Jack Smith was not appointed by the president as special counsel and confirmed by the Senate as federal officers are supposed to be. This would mean explicitly the weaponization of government, the use of false authority by a private citizen to target a former president and the current frontrunner. It's not law enforcement. This man has no legal authority or constitutional authority. It is, in fact, a coup. That's what they're doing. Now, I suppose coup may not be the right word, considering Donald Trump is not currently the president, but he is the frontrunner. Something is happening. We are in this civil war period, and this is a rather shocking and startling argument put forward by Stephen Calabresi. They have filed a petition for cert to the Supreme Court to nullify special counsel Jack Smith, specifically because this man was not appointed by the president nor confirmed by the Senate. In essence, the attorney general just took a private citizen and said, "You now wield the power of government, so be it." But that's not how the system is supposed to work. As we all sit back and watch this unfold, the prosecution of the former president and current frontrunner, understand that what's basically happened is a private citizen is using force to target Donald Trump. Yeah, that is more like a coup attempt than any legitimate law enforcement. When we look at what's going on with these Democrats, summary judgments, the targeting of Donald Trump, I think it's fair to say it is some kind of coup-like circumstance. The flooding of the southern border indicates that this country is being occupied and destroyed. And so I don't know what else to say other than this is a civil war era. It may turn out to be a revolution, meaning if after Trump is elected or after the 2024 election, who knows what'll happen, there could be no violence. It could simply just be a Bolshevik style revolution. I don't know. I do believe that Donald Trump has laid forward for all of you what he is hoping to happen. And so the path forward is actually quite simple. Yeah, we don't want violence. We don't want conflict. These people are going insane. But for now, with these arguments in the Supreme Court, we actually do have a chance to hold this thing together and have these criminals charged and removed from power. They shouldn't have power in the first place, but the Supreme Court could actually nullify Jack Smith. And this is an important thing to understand. So long as we are still within the realm of the Supreme Court stripping this man of any authority he claims to have, we are not at the point of no return. And it may be that this coming year is the year we turn it around and prevent the worst. I have no guarantees for you. I can only tell you that this is the plan. To register your friends and family to vote, to inform them, to share podcasts like this, and to elect Donald Trump. I don't know what comes afterwards. We hope that we can actually get a purging of the corrupt. We can get in essence, a reconfiguration of the system, which still does exist. We must arrest criminals. Simply because there are criminal elements in the Democratic Party does not mean this country and its founding values don't exist anymore. Certainly they do. And it is us doing everything in our power to maintain those. The fastest way to destroy the United States and destroy the values and the vision of the founding fathers, plural. The quickest way to destroy this country would be to engage in violence, because that basically says no one views anything legitimately. No one respects the system that is in place, nor views it with any confidence. I still do. I still do believe that with the Supreme Court and with the system laid before us, though crooked and corrupt, still in existence, it need only be cleaned. And if we peacefully register voters, knock on doors, support new culture, we stop this before it gets to that point. And I hope that is what happens. And I hope that is what you focus on. I said it before and I'll say it again. You need only do one thing. Refuse to engage in evil. You don't need to do anything else. The simplest thing is to say, I will not participate. If you are asked to arrest Owen Schroyer, you simply say no. Find someone else to do your dirty work. Now, here's the conundrum, I suppose. When people say, but I have kids to feed. I'll say this just this one time for this second, because I said it a million times. When the devil offers you a deal and he says, serve me and I will make sure your children are fed. By all means, you can take that money, but you are still serving the army of the devil. That's what I wonder if people don't truly understand. They say, look, I'd quit my job, but I have kids to feed. And I'm like, yeah, you took a deal with the devil. Did you think the devil's temptations would not strike at your most carnal fears? Did you think that, and I mean, I'm not saying literally the devil. If you want to interpret it literally, by all means, many of you maybe do. I am not a Christian. I mean, in the figurative sense, when the deal is offered to you, when the devil appears before you, did you think he was going to offer you an infinity pool or a Ferrari? Of course not, because you don't care about infinity pools or Ferraris. You care about your children. And that's exactly what he has over you when he says, serve me, and your children will know only full bellies. And you said yes. Okay. We won't forget. The only thing that needs to happen is people stop serving evil. But let's talk about this story. And this article from Reason is actually one of the more shocking that I've seen. Before we get started, my friends, head over to thebestsongever.com. If you want to support our cultural endeavors and help us build a parallel economy, by all means, click download at your price. Today is the last day. We are already being told that they're not properly tracking our numbers because, of course, they're trying to gatekeep and keep us out of the industry. The one thing they can't do, however, is stop you from buying the songs. It's much like these YouTube videos. They'll shadow ban us and censor us, but if you just keep sharing them anyway, it doesn't matter because human beings choose, and there are ways to bypass their gatekeeping. They won't write about us. They won't put us in their playlists. But if enough people buy the song, they can't keep us off the charts. Support the cultural endeavors we're engaged in. Today is the final stand. It's our last day. After tonight, the numbers will be in. Let's read this story from Reason. On November 18th, 2022, Attorney General Merrick Garland purported to appoint private citizen Jack L. Smith to be a special counsel with the power of one of the 93 U.S. attorneys, but with nationwide jurisdiction. This makes Jack Smith more powerful than any of the 93 U.S. attorneys, even though they have been Senate confirmed to their particular offices. And Jack Smith has not been Senate confirmed for the particular office, which he now claims to hold. A close examination of the DOJ's organic statute makes it clear that unlike at least four other heads of cabinet departments, the head of the DOJ has not, quote, in the words of the Appointments Clause, been by law vested with the power to appoint inferior officers like Jack Smith, who have more power than any of the 93 Senate-confirmed U.S. attorneys. This made clear by an examination of the DOJ's organic statutes, which he goes on to list. And more importantly, Section 543. The latter statute explicitly allows the appointment by the Attorney General of a special counsel to assist a U.S. attorney, but not to replace him. Comparison of the DOJ's organic statute with the organic statutes of at least four other cabinet departments illustrates the kind of clear laws by which Congress exercises its power to, by law, vest the appointment of such inferior officers as they think proper in the heads of departments. To put it simply, the DOJ can't just decide someone's a U.S. attorney. The president must choose a special counsel for which the Senate then confirms. He goes on to say, let's see. My concern about the legality of Jack Smith's appointment is both a concern that Trump's convictions might eventually be overturned by the Supreme Court on appeal because Jack Smith was unconstitutionally appointed, and a concern that even someone who has conducted himself in the way Donald Trump has done must be tried in a constitutional way. The current Supreme Court has at least 6 justices who really care about the separation of powers in the Appointments Clause. And I think that's likely going to happen. We'll read on. The proper way in which an attorney general should appoint a special counsel like Jack Smith is to ask one of the very best Senate-confirmed U.S. attorneys now in office to prosecute the cases arising out of the events of January 6th or the misuse of classified documents, to be special counsel allowing the U.S. attorney to prosecute cases nationwide and not only in one of the 93 districts, each of which has its own Senate-confirmed U.S. attorney. At the same time, the attorney general should then, and could then, under 28 U.S.C. Section 543, appoint Jack Smith to be a special counsel's special assistant. Simply put, he should go to the president and say, you must appoint the individual. He's not done so. And so all of this is actually much more simple. What we are seeing right now is a rogue individual and private citizen who is being served by agents of the government without constitutional authority to target, arrest, and otherwise subvert the current frontrunner for 2024's presidential race. And I'm not talking about in the Republican Party. I'm saying Donald Trump is the frontrunner in the presidential election. This man with no authority is acting outside of the law. And everyone's just watching it happen. Now, for this, the individual, Stephen, I believe is his name, he writes that he has filed a petition of cert. Let me go down and find it, to the Supreme Court. What happened? Yada yada. Let me just search for this point. He says this blatant unconstitutional this is blatantly unconstitutional and renders Jack Smith powerless to seek a writ of cert before judgment of the Supreme Court, as he is trying to do at the moment. He goes on to say, Professor Gary Lawson, he says, I have co-written, here we go, here's the portion I want to read. I have co-written and co-signed an amicus brief with former Attorney General Ed Meese and Professor Gary Lawson, which was filed in the Supreme Court today, which was yesterday, in U.S. v. Trump, which is a petition for cert before judgment filed by private citizen Jack Smith purporting to speak for the government of the United States, and which is currently before the Supreme Court, and which makes the argument that Jack Smith's appointment was unconstitutional. My concern about the legality of Jack Smith's appointment is both a concern that Trump's convictions might eventually be overturned, and because he was unconstitutionally appointed, what must be done to Donald Trump for whatever he has done must be constitutional. And as of right now, as of today, special counsel stresses gravity of Trump case, urges Supreme Court to immediately hear immunity dispute. This is horrifying. Jack Smith has no authority under the Constitution to do what he does. The media claims he's a special counsel. Understand what we are seeing. A man with no authority has asserted it, and the media just said yes, and people believed it. That's what government really is. It's a scary thought when you consider what's going on in this country. That's all it takes. If the media says it happened, it happened. And people don't know what to do, but the media may be one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful branch of government. And I mean it. Tomorrow, if the New York Times, CNN, Fox News, every media outlet announced that Jack Smith is now president, definitively, and made up some mumbo jumbo as to assert why it was, people would just do it. People would just march in lockstep. No one would do anything about it. And you may say that's extreme. That couldn't happen. It already did. The media said Jack Smith has the authority, and everyone just said, okay. I think about these videos where human traffickers are walking right past, traffickers with minors walking right past Border Patrol who smile and say, what am I supposed to do about it? I don't know, your job. It's fascinating to me that police officers, law enforcement, will stop you under their own volition and say what you're doing is illegal. They do it all the time. But when it comes to watching a human trafficker smuggling minors, they just shrug and say, I don't know. Because they're in the army of the devil. I mean that figuratively, but you can think it literal. Last night, Michael Malice said it's literal. The devil, demons, whatever you want to believe. Tucker Carlson thinks it's something more spiritual. But I will tell you this. The reason why they do nothing is because they are servants of darkness, of evil. Now, they can masquerade as good all they want. They can claim they're being forced to do it. But you cannot explain to me why it is that police officers will be like, hey, that guy, he's smoking an illicit substance. I'm going to stop him. We know you're not allowed to do that. But then these same law enforcement officers watch human traffickers and they go, oh, what am I supposed to do? And I mean it. In Westchester, when a plane landed where they were trafficking children, the cops were just like, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You know human trafficking is illegal. You did nothing because they serve darkness. This is what you must be wary of. And I'm speaking, I love this because people are like, Tim's grifting as a Christian. I'm not a Christian. I'm speaking figuratively, and to those who would believe it, there's a literal component to those who are of Christian faith. You need not only fear the demons who would steal power, you need fear those who would lie to you. Do you think that every single cop is an angel who's being forced to do this? Every cop who says, I'm sorry, man, I'm just doing my job. How many of them then turn and grin and smile because they're actually just demons, hoping that by saying I'm just doing my job, you won't hold it against them? Even the other day, Michael Malice said, excuse me, he said, if you've got kids to feed, then I understand it. It's okay. But no, I don't think it's okay. I understand it, but I don't think it's okay. If there is a psychopathic murderer and he cuts a deal with you and says, work for me and I'll make sure your family's fed. Yeah, you're a bad guy. You're a henchman. Like, what do you think? And then more to the supernatural. If the devil comes to you and says, your children will never know an empty stomach again, just serve evil. And you say, but guys, my kids need to eat. Okay, that's fine, but you're still a servant of evil. Have a nice day. This is where we're currently at. Attorney General Andrew Bailey of Missouri says we filed a brief at the U.S. Supreme Court to halt Jack Smith's move to circumvent the appeals process in his prosecution of Trump. The DOJ's attempt to accelerate the prosecution is blatantly partisan, and SCOTUS must reject it. Another fascinating thing that we discussed. I'm a big fan of Dr. Stone. I've been watching that. It's basically Magic School Bus for Japanese kids or people who like anime. But there's a character in it who's a mentalist. And they explain manipulation because the show is basically just breaking down like science and they're putting a fun twist on it. The simple story is that a ragtag bunch are trying to save their friends. One of the bad guys discovers their hideout, and he's a very strong bad guy. And he says, I can kill all of you right now, or should I make you serve me? Choose A or B. What should I do? The mentalist begins negotiating, but appears very weak. Eventually he says, you know what? We have a lot to offer you. Clearly, we are equals. Thus, you and I will work together. We will get what we want and then split the rewards 50-50. The bad guy then says, what? I'm clearly above you. No, I get all of the rewards. And they go, oh no, I guess you win. What they explain is that the original argument was whether or not to kill the good guys or not. But the mentalist changed the argument by moving the goalpost to make it who gets what percent of the rewards. I'm basically paraphrasing the circumstance of the show, but changing the negotiation without the other party realizing you've already gotten what you wanted. What did Malice say? If you're negotiating the color of the car, the salesman's already got you. The salesman wants to go from, will you buy the car or not? And then a person starts arguing the details being like, yeah, but I wanted a red car. He got you already. Now the negotiation becomes, okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We can give you either the, free paint job, or we'll give you a discount on the paint, but we'll include the matte package, the special snow mats on the inside. Which one do you want? Now you're no longer arguing whether or not you're buying the car. You're arguing in what way are you buying the car? This is what they've done. No longer did we even discuss, does this man have the authority to go after Donald Trump? He doesn't. We're now discussing whether or not his attempt to bypass appeals is legitimate. So Andrew Bailey is doing the good thing by challenging this, but still falling into the trap. Andrew Bailey should join the other amicus brief or file his own saying Jack Smith is a private citizen with no authority to do this. That's the confidence game. Government is just the confidence of the people. A private citizen, Jack Smith, is going after a former president and no one's doing anything about it. Could you imagine if a guy just off the street one day announced he was arresting a Supreme Court justice? We'd laugh. But why not now? Because the media just asserted it was true and everyone believed it. And the men and women in uniform who signed a deal with the devil support it. Don't ask questions and don't care. It is already a brave new world, my friends. And what's to come will be particularly scary. Benny Johnson, he's a guy right here on Twitter. Texas and Florida moved to rip Biden from ballot in 2024. Interesting. It also says Epstein client list released. No, they're not releasing a client list, and that is misleading. What they're releasing is court documents with names on them. But what we're seeing is the escalation. I don't know where it ends. I don't know what comes next. I can only tell you that we are in civil strife, and this will be considered a civil war era unless we win come 2024. But hey, look, Abraham Lincoln won. You still got a civil war. It may turn out in much the same way. Donald Trump gets elected. Several states start defying federal law. Donald Trump sends in federal authorities to quell rebellion. And then it snaps one by one. No one really knows what to expect. But I can tell you next year is going to be wild because what we're looking at already is. It's a crazy story. But Donald Trump is being targeted by special interests that are not part of this government. I hope the court intervenes. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.